Hello students, in this chapter on polynomial of class 10th mathematics, we are going to study about polynomials and what are the zeros of the polynomials. And if we say what are zero, then how does or what does it geometrically means? That is, if we draw a polynomial on graph, then what does zero means? Then we will also study if and what is their relationship between the coefficient and the zeros of the polynomials. Then we will learn to divide one polynomial by another polynomial. In our earlier classes, mostly in 7th or 8th, we learned to form equations to solve a particular problem which was given to us. So we learn to solve problems like age of a father is twice the age of a son, and the sum of the ages of father and son is 48. So to find out what is the age of son and what is the age of father now. So questions like or problems like these we solved in our earlier classes. And what we used to do, we used to form simple equations from the details provided in the question. This is a simple problem. How we used to solve. We'll assume that the age of the son be x. Then father's age is 4 times the age of son. So father age will be 4 times x, 4 times the age of son. And sum of the ages of father and son is 60 years. So x plus 4x is equal to 60. So this is how we would form simple equations. So in these equations, so in this equation, x is variable. So x is variable and 60 is constant. 60 is constant, and here the coefficient of x is 4 and here the coefficient of x is 1. So these equations were simple equations and mostly these equations were binomial. So the equations which contains two terms are binomial, and the equations which contains uh, what is there only x or y or x square, these are known as monomial, and equations which contains two terms like here you see we have x and a constant, these are binomial, and equation which contains more than two terms, three terms, are known as trinomial. So these are monomials, and these are binomials. So the equation which contains only one term, x, y, x square, x cube, are monomials. Equations which contain two terms, like here 4x plus 5x plus x is 5x, so 5x and 60. There are only two terms, so it is binomial. And here we have three terms, x, 2y and 3. So these equations are known as trinomials. Now the highest degree of the equation is known as the degree of the equation, highest degree of terms of the equation. Here you see the highest degree of 4x is 1. So this is, so here the highest degree is 1, x has a power 1. So this is our linear polynomial. Linear polynomial. So here you see we have only one term, x square, but the degree is 2. So this will be known as, although it is a monomial, but it will be known as quadratic polynomial. So this is our quadratic polynomial. Then we have suppose the degree is 3. So in this equation we have s cube plus 2x. Then here the degree of this equation is 3. I mean the highest degree. So hence this equation will be known as cubic polynomial. So just if I revise, see how many terms are there. Based on that, we'll classify an equation as monomial, binomial or trinomial. If it has only one term like x is there in the equation, then it is monomial. If there are two terms, here we have 4x plus 1, x, 5x and 60, so it is binomial. And if it has more more than two terms, like here we have a 1, this is first term, then this is first term, this is second term, this is third term. So it has three terms. So it will be known as trinomial. Now how will we classify an equation into linear, polynomial, quadratic or cubic? That is based on degree, not based on the terms. So here we have the two terms only, but still the degree is 3, so it is a cubic polynomial. Here we have three terms, but the degree is 1 only, so it is quadratic polynomial. Here we have one term and degree is also 1, so it is a linear polynomial. This one like x, so here we have two terms. So it is a binomial, but the degree is 1, so it will be known as linear polynomial. So I will summarize it based on number of terms. An equation is classified as monomial, binomial or trinomial, and based on degree of the equation, it is, I mean degree means highest degree. It is classified as linear polynomial, quadratic polynomial or cubic polynomial. 1 degree linear polynomial. If it has 2 degrees, then quadratic polynomial. And if it has 3 degree, I mean the highest degree of the equation is 3, then it is known as cubic polynomial. And So this is the general expression of a polynomial. an xn a plus an n minus 1 xn n minus 1 up to ax plus constant c. A is any integer, n is also any integer greater than 0. So this is a polynomial of a degree. If n is the highest, then it is polynomial of degree n. Now we will go to, so we will now study what is the value and zero of a polynomial. So say this be any polynomial ax or so let us take this a linear polynomial and this one quadratic polynomial and this one is our cubic polynomial. So suppose if we have a real number k and if we replace this x by k, this x by k, this x by k, then the value that we will get after replacing x by k, here x by k is known as the value of the polynomial at k. So we can say it is the value of the polynomial px at x is equal to k. So if we replace x by k, then this equation will become, so this value of px at k will become ak bk plus c, then ak square, then here ak cube bk square ck plus d. So this value that we have obtained by replacing x by k is known as the value of a polynomial px at x is equal to k. So from this value now we are going to, so let us now understand value of a polynomial by some examples. So suppose we have these three equations. This is your linear equation, this one is a quadratic, this one is a cubic equation. And if we want to find out the value of these polynomials at x is equal to say minus 1, then what will be the value? So we will replace x by 1. Oh sorry, we took minus 1. So we will replace it by minus 1. So it is the square of minus 1. Then here it is 2 into minus 1. Here it is cube of minus 1, and here square of minus 1. So what will we get? We will get here, this is minus 2 minus 3 plus 1, minus 2 minus 3 plus 1, that equals minus 4. So the value of px at x is equal to minus 1 is minus 4, and the value of this equation, this equation at x is equal to minus 1 will be, so it will be here 2, and the value of this polynomial at x is equal to minus 1 will be, so we'll get 0. So this value of px at x is equal to minus 1, where we get the value as 0, is very important concept in arithmetic, because this is what we are going to study and do a lot of questions on it. So when the value of k at which the polynomial value is 0 is known as the 0 of the polynomial. So here, what is the 0 of the polynomial? It is minus 1. Minus 1 is the 0 of this polynomial. I mean this polynomial. So how will we write? We'll write that for a value p, or for a polynomial p, if for a value k, the value comes out to be 0, then k is known as 0 of the polynomial. So this is 0 of the polynomial. Now let us take a linear polynomial of, this is the general formula of a linear polynomial, px is equal to x plus b. So suppose for value of x equal to k, if px is 0, then what we will get? A k plus b equal to 0, or that means k is equal to minus b by a. So what we see in the linear polynomial, if k is if any value x, for any value x, if the polynomial value is 0, then that k is known as value and 0 of the polynomial, and that value k is related to coefficient and constant. So this helps us to find out. This equation is very important because it tells that for what value of k the value of polynomial will be 0, or for what value of x we can find out the 0 of the polynomial. It is minus b by a, and this is true for all linear equations. Now we have to see what relation exists between the zero and coefficient of the polynomials. So here we want to find out what a relation exists between here the coefficient of x square. Oh, sorry. Here the coefficient of x square is 1. Here the coefficient of x is 2. And we have the constant 3. So is there any relation between the 0 of this polynomial and this coefficient and quotient and constant? So that we will find out. For a linear equation we have found out that k is equal to minus b by a. The value of 0 is minus b by a for any linear equation. Now we will try to find out for a quadratic equation. So in our next video we'll find out how the 0 of a polynomial is related to the coefficients. And we'll also study and learn what is the geometrical meaning of the 0 of a polynomial. So we'll draw a line on a graph chart. Then for the value x equal to 0, we'll find out where does that point exist on that line in the graph. And from that we will understand what is the geometrical meaning of a polynomial. That I will help you in my next video on polynomial.